You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Parks podcast, and this is show number 339 for Sunday the 15th of November 2020.
Where dreams begin.
Well, hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls podcast. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Phipsy.
Hello there, my darling, and how are we this week?
I'm doing really well, surprisingly. You know, I'm just taking that attitude of just put a smile on, wear a Disney Spirit jersey and smile.
That's all we can do at the moment, isn't it, really? Think of Disney and carry on.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm spending a lot of time enjoying my study at home because I'm back working from home again. So I'm able to enjoy my Disney-rific surroundings and have a coffee in a Disney mug and little things. I can wear my Disney clothes. And we've finally got both sets of park attraction posters up on the wall. We've got Disneyland Paris and then we've got Disneyland Resort. I never got the Walt Disney World set, so I am gutted, and there aren't any being sold on eBay either, so...
Are they not? I have to watch you when you come round my house, and as I do have the Disney World set.
It is nice going up and down stairs and seeing the little posters. It just adds a little bit to the experience.
Yeah, and you've got a lovely set of stairs to do it on as well, actually. I bet they look amazing.
They do. They look really good. Although it is quite a discussion point over where you should start, because I said you have to start with the train station and then go around that way. So Tom wanted to start with his favourite attractions. I said, no, we've got to do it in the proper order.
I must admit, I think we had multiple discussions because mine is like on a corridor, so I've got both sides. So it was a case of what do we put together and where we're going to put it all. Yeah, there was much discussion had when they went up.
Okay, well, we have quite the podcast for each other to talk about on this week's show, haven't we?
Yeah, busy as always.
Absolutely, cracking on with it. And we're going to start. Last week you did some fantastic on this day in Disney history. Well, I've got a couple of pieces that I'd like to share this week.
Oh, cool.
So November the 15th, 1965, 2 p.m, promptly, Walton Roy Disney, accompanied by the Governor, Hayden Burns, spoke to the press at the Cherry Plaza Hotel in Orlando, and they officially launched the Florida Project in Florida.
Ah, yeah.
Very, very exciting. Very exciting. Only days after this announcement, the price of land surrounding the property that Disney had bought was supposedly going for $180 an acre, shot up to amazing $80,000 per acre.
Wow, that's a little bit of an increase.
Just a bit. In the end, Disney planners bought a staggering 27,443 acres, or 43 square miles, and it cost them about $5 million. If you bear in mind how much that land would be worth now, wow.
That would be one good investment.
Absolutely. And it was, because look at the ka-chings that they've had through their turnstiles over the years. Unfortunately, sadly, they're not getting the ka-chings at the moment, but they've got deep pockets.
Yeah, well, hopefully things will be on upturn sooner rather than later.
And let's face it, Jane, let's be honest, how many Disney fans right now are spending all their holiday money on buying merchandise?
Yeah, I won't tell you how many times I keep popping back onto Shop Disney and waiting to see if the little decorations that I want are appearing. It's like one will appear and then the other one will disappear. And it's like, no, I want to buy them at the same time. I want to cut down my P&P. But yeah, it's kind of addictive though, isn't it, once you start?
I know, it really is. Just don't go on Shop Disney website at all.
And it doesn't help when you share items that you spotted in a certain grocery store over here, which then means I end up going to their website and seeing more things.
I know, it's lethal. Back to on this day in Disney history.
Sorry, we're digressing into retail shopping.
We always get to the shopping somehow. It's shopping and food.
Well, yeah, go on. Well, not much else we can do at the moment.
True. November the 15th, 1980, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad officially opened at Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. Now, this is an attraction that has an incarnation over at Disneyland Park in California. It also has a version at Tokyo Disneyland and Disneyland Park Paris. Exciting stuff. Did you know that the Florida version was allocated a little bit more space in the park than its Disneyland counterpart? Hence, it's a little bit bigger, about 25% bigger than the Disneyland attraction.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Little bits. Finally, on this day in 2010, Disney creative director Dave Bossert was interviewed, and he said something about Song of the South.
Uh-oh.
I can say there's been a lot of internal discussion about Song of the South, and at some point we're going to have to do something about it. I don't know when, but we will. We know we want people to see Song of the South because we realise it's a big piece of company history and we want to do it the right way. Now, that was 10 years ago. It's still not going to be seen because it's never going to be released, and we're finally seeing the demise of the attraction in the theme park, so that's kind of sad.
Yes, it's took 10 years to get there.
Yeah. Well, they still haven't made a decision what they're doing with the film. They've made a decision about the attraction, but they're never going to show it, and it would be nice if they could put something in front of it to preempt viewing or create a discussion rather than saying, oh, it's not fit to be watched, because it is a beautiful piece of animation, and if understood in context, it is worthwhile seeing.
Yeah, and I think that can be said for an awful lot of films as well that were created decades ago. It would be nice if these films could be released with that caveat sort of thing of, please remember when this was created and the timings and the situations and so forth, because it's a shame to lose stuff that was made the best of intentions back when it was made.
That's it. That's all I've got for this week's On Disney History. And I think we're going to start looking at what's happening over in Disneyland, because whilst the theme parks are opening, from the 19th of November, there's going to be a special shopping and dining experience.
They're kind of opening the park, but sort of not really. A teeny bit.
So basically, you'll find that if you're able to get in, because they're going to set up a mobile experience for the queue, because they can only allow a certain amount of people in, so you may get there and find out you can't get in.
Right.
But for dining, you have got the choice of Cafe Circle Lounge for alfresco dining. So I'm imagining some table and chairs all around the streets where you can then sit down in an open air environment and order some delicious food. And this is coming from the duo of Chef Andrew Sutton and Alex Flores, and they're going to create some delicious food. On the menu, there is a shrimp roll, a harissa roasted lamb, a soy glazed salmon, a lemon crusted fish, and an artisan cheese board.
All sounds good.
It does. I had a little look on the existing Carthay menu because the new one isn't up yet on the website. They did have a harissa roasted lamb burger before. I don't know if that's actually going to be the one that they're offering, but that was $24, so I didn't think that was priced at a ridiculous amount. But the fish, they did have a lemon crusted fish before, and that was a fish of the day, and that was $38. So for me, that is a bit of a steep charge for eating al fresco a piece of fish.
Yeah, I suppose they have to be a bit careful, aren't they? But then again, I suppose it's high quality food.
There's been no news as yet if those amazing jalapeno cheese biscuits are going to be offered or not. I imagine there will be placards and people protesting if they are not.
Yes, it's one of those things. It's kind of Carthay biscuits. It's like, yeah, they go together, don't they? They can't be apart.
Completely. If you haven't got the budget for Carthay, don't worry, there's Fiddler Fifer and Practical Cafe for your caffeination and snack availability. And obviously, if you're going in there, you'll obviously want to go in Trolley Treats next door and get some delicious Disney candy.
Yeah, definitely.
I must admit, from everywhere at Downtown Disney, it's sounding to me that Marceline's is the most busiest place. So maybe with trolley treats opening up as well, it might be a bit easier to get your hands on that delicious English toffee.
Yeah, it might just take the pressure off one place, mightn't it?
Yeah. Going back to smoke jumpers, the price point there's a little bit more affordable, shall I go with, where you can get a bacon cheeseburger for about $13.50, and you cannot go there without trying their waffle fries. Delicious. There's also lots of shopping you can do. You can go over to Elias & Co, Julius Katz and Sons, and the Kingswell Camera Shop, as well as the aforementioned trolley treats.
Yeah, just nice to think that there's a little bit more to do over there. I know it's not a lot, but a little bit's better than nothing, isn't it?
Well, it'll take the pressure off World of Disney as well if people are going to be going into DCA to be able to have a look around there as well.
Yeah, just get a little feel of what it's like to be in a theme park again. I know it's not a full-on experience, but just be nice to walk through those gates, won't it?
True. If you're going to attend, parking is via the Simba lot, and it's going to be charged at $10 per vehicle. One thing I did find quite interesting when I was reading the small print, it says that masks must be worn by anyone aged 2 or above.
2 or above, wow.
And complete temperature screening on arrival and social distancing rules will be followed. So
As you would expect, yeah.
if you're not willing to follow those rules, don't go.
Don't bother. No. The thing is that Disney have been very clear about it, and as we've seen over in Disney World, the signage has gradually over the months become more and more specific, hasn't it, around what you should and should not be doing. So they're obviously out there to mean business with it. So you know that. So just do as you're being told. If you want to go out there and enjoy it, then do what you need to do.
Absolutely. Right, let's hop over to the other coast and go to the Magic Kingdom, because they have released their holiday highlights and some of the yummies that you can find in the 4 theme parks. So I thought we'd have a little look at these and a discussion about what tantalises us. And I'm going to start with the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
And to be quite honest, I'm giving this a big fat pass because they look visually Instagrammable, but the flavours didn't really attract me. But I have a sneaky feeling that we may differ on this, so I'm going to hand over to you, Jane.
Well, I don't know, Michelle, to be fair. I'm a little bit like you. I mean, they all look really pretty. I mean, there's one that I wouldn't touch with a barge pole at all.
Which is that?
Which is the pistachio chai tea float, because I just don't do chai tea at all. Yuck. No. So, wouldn't go for that at all.
I must admit, it brown coloured liquid with bright pistachio green on top. I just don't get the idea of cold tea.
No, well, it's not a thing that we do over here, is it? So my Ethan loves the stuff, but no, I wouldn't touch it. Just doesn't appeal to me at all. And I'm not a big nut person either, so it's on 2 fronts. You see, I know you're probably thinking the churros for me, aren't you? The Chip 'n Dale churros.
Well, I don't know. I was thinking the orange bird because I think you'd have been suckered in by its cuteness.
Well, it does look cute. It looks awkward to eat, but it does look cute.
I've got visions of bloggers going round the first day it's available in the nice white Spirit jerseys that have been brought out for the Christmas season with blobs of orange mousse dribbled down it, because how are you supposed to eat it?
Well, I don't know. And I see these things, and like you said, Michelle, they're very Instagrammable and they look beautiful when they're photographed for marketing purposes. Sometimes they don't necessarily always create the same result in the parks, shall we say, because they're being produced en masse, aren't they? So therefore, they don't always look exactly as you might imagine them to look. But no, I was a little bit, yeah.
Are you going back to the Wookiee cookie again, Jane?
Well, possibly, yeah. I mean, it's like the churros. Okay, so these are Chip 'n Dale Christmas churros and the gingerbread churros. Quite like the idea of gingerbread flavoured churros, but it's just a churro with apple pie fillings stuffed on top. It's not exactly high dining. Not that I'm expecting to be high dining, but do you know what I mean? It's not that inspiring. And the cupcake looks delightful. And I'd love to know how they've got the Mickey inside the cupcake.
Oh, do you want to know? I know how they do it. I watched a cookery show. Do you want to know?
Oh, right. God,
Right.
did that pipe it in or something?
No. It's actually a pre-cooked piece of cake that has been moulded into that shape, and
Right.
it's put into the cupcake mould, and then the batter for the cupcake is poured over it, so that when you
Right.
cut it open, and that little Mickey bit in the middle has actually been cooked twice, so it can lead to that element being quite dry. So I hope they've got their heads around that.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because obviously the cupcake itself around the Mickey head is just vanilla. So that's a bit like, oh, okay. And then obviously the Mickey is supposed to be red velvet, but I always thought if something was cooked twice, isn't that biscotti? Isn't biscotti referred to? Isn't that the translation for biscotti, twice baked?
I think that's on biscuits, though.
Yeah, but surely the same would apply if you wouldn't, like you said, would it not just dry out the sponge if you've already baked it once and then you rebake it?
I have actually done this myself, and it is possible to do it. It just takes a bit of timing, and I'm sure the wonderful
Okay.
Disney chefs have got their timing down pat.
Yeah. And then obviously we've mentioned them all night, so we can't not mention the Let It Snow taco. I mean, goodness gracious me. I'm sorry, but I look at that and all I can think of is going to like crunch in your teeth. It's going to be like eating sugar, isn't it?
That's the whole point of Christmas, Jane.
Well, I don't wish to sound bar humbug or get Chris and Scrooge, because that's not me and Christmas at all. I love Christmas. I really do. But I don't know, it's blue as well. Blue cookie.
And we know
Sorry.
what happens to brightly coloured food. What the result is.
Well, quite. The fact that it's got salted caramel and chocolate mousse in it, it sounds quite nice. I don't mind that combination. And it looks pretty. It looks like it's something to do with, I don't know why, I'm getting Frozen vibes off it. With it being that blue colour. I know they're just referring to it as a Let It Snow taco, and it's meant to be, and it's going to be over at Pecos Bills, but it looks very Frozen inspired to me. I don't know.
It absolutely does, because it's that pale blue colour that you associate with Elsa, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So they look pretty. I just don't know which one I'd go for.
Okay, fair dues. Let's go on to Hollywood Studios and see if they offer up any more delightful treats for you. And I'm going to pass the mantle to you now.
Thank you. Oh, crikey. Well, I'm going to go for the holiday whoopie pie.
Ooh.
I think I'm trying to be more positive now, because I feel like I've just dissed Magic Kingdom. So I feel like I need to be more positive. And they're very nice. The options that they've got for Hollywood Studios, what I will say is they're very colour coordinated, bar one. They're all going down the red and green and sort of like a burgundy reddish colour. So I quite like the fact that they're all very themed. I'll say apart from one. But yeah, the whoopie pie, red velvet, so you can't really go wrong with a red velvet cake, can you? And it's got a classic cream cheese filling. So it only kind of really looks Christmassy because it's got icing sugar dusted on top and it's got red and green sprinkles around the outside. Otherwise, it would be just a red velvet whoopie pie, would it not? Sorry, I'm being very negative today.
I must admit, it looks quite a sizable whoopie pie, or maybe that's the picture that's distorting the view of it.
Yeah, I'm going to say, the way they photographed it, it looks quite big, but I get a sneaky feeling it probably isn't as big as you and I would like it to be.
Well, no, obviously we'd want it the size of a dustbin lid.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Well, I've gone off track with this one, and I have gone with the frozen salted caramel hot chocolate, which is basically sugar with sugar and a bit more sugar, because you've got the hot chocolate, you've got marshmallows, you've got green sugar, a chocolate drizzle, and you can have it with a souvenir Mickey glow as well. So that's kind of cute. I first originally thought the Mickey glow, it's basically, it looked like a big candy red Mickey head. And I thought, oh, great, that'll be ace to eat. It's like a maraschino cherry type thing. But then I realised it was a glow cube and I wasn't as excited.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend trying to eat that, Michelle.
No, that would be bad.
Very bad.
But that sounds great to me. But if I'm going to get a hot chocolate, I'm going to have Mickey's Holiday Cookie, because you can't go wrong with a vanilla butter cookie.
No, true. It's got white chocolate on though, so not. Well, I'm not a fan of white chocolate personally.
Yeah, but they've dyed the white chocolate red,
I
so
know, but it's still white chocolate.
yeah. If you do want to know how to make the most amazing sugar cookies, we did share it last year on our blog because I fathomed out the Disney recipe and tweaked it a little bit, and I made them at the weekend and they were amazing. So that's well worth having a go at. If you go over to our blog, DisneyDreamGirls.com, you'll find it there. Not much else at Hollywood Studios that's catching our fancy, but are things looking brighter for us over at Animal Kingdom, Jane?
Not too bad. Again, there's a lot of presentation over style here, isn't there, with all of these? Because obviously they're pulling into the Christmas vibe. I'm gonna go for the pumpkin ice cream sandwich, though. Were you gonna go for that one, Michelle?
No, but I looked at it and I thought that looks amazing because I love a good ice cream sandwich anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and the Dinobite Snacks shop normally do really good ice cream cookies. I just think having a vanilla ice cream, they could have offered a pumpkin flavoured ice cream or a cinnamon flavoured ice cream to make it a little bit more Christmassy.
Yeah, but I quite like the idea of having the richness, hopefully the richness of the pumpkin in the cookies, and then the vanilla should be quite a nice, clean offset to it. I mean, to be fair, it's a little bit like the whoopie pie. It is what it is. And the only reason it looks Christmassy is because they put Christmas colour sprinkles on it.
True.
And it's pumpkin, I suppose. Pumpkin is a kind of a Christmassy flavour.
No, it's not. It's fall.
Well, yeah, I'd rather have cinnamon, but,
Yeah. Although in my household, we have started a tradition where we have pumpkin pie on Christmas Day now.
Okay.
And that's because my household, there's only Tom who likes Christmas pudding. So I had to cook something that was an alternate, and I always have pumpkin pie mix in the cupboard. So I thought, right, we'll have pumpkin pie. And then they all start saying, but what about trifle? We need trifle, Mum. So we normally end up having 4 desserts.
Well, you say it's Christmas, sugar, desserts. It's kind of like a given, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, I think if you would have been to Disney's Animal Kingdom and visited Satuli Canteen, you would have actually chosen their offering because that dessert to me that they've offered is fantastic. It's a white chocolate peppermint cream cheese mousse and it looks amazing. It's got a peppermint sauce and a peppermint cream mousse. These mousses that they do seasonally over at Satuli are all sensational. I've not found a bad one yet. And I'm challenging our lovely friend Anthony Markham, who's going to Walt Disney World very shortly. It's his task to go and try that for me, and I want pictures because it looks really good.
It does look good. I think the reason I didn't pick it was because A, it's white chocolate, which we've just said I don't really like white chocolate, and I'm not a big peppermint fan either. I know.
Oh. Out of the 4 images I've seen, the most Disney is the Santa Mickey Mouse, and I love that play on words. Instead of Mickey Mouse, it's Mickey Mouse.
Yes, it is cute, isn't it?
And again, that's a white chocolate peppermint mousse dome on a chocolate base. But I think chocolate and peppermint are a marriage gone to heaven. You know, over here in the UK, we have those amazing After 8 chocolate mints. And in the USA, they have all sorts of other things, particularly from See's Candy, that have peppermint in the middle. And I just think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I must admit, if I am going to eat peppermint, it tends to be in said After 8, so nice dark chocolate and peppermint. I'll tolerate it then.
Okay. What about the last port of call over at Epcot then?
Well, we've not got a vast amount to look at. So we've got spiked frozen apple pie. Mm-hmm. So old smoky apple pie moonshine with Minute Maid apple juice and cinnamon.
I knew the alcohol would draw you in.
Looks like a bit of a slushy type thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does look good. Very,
it's very orange.
Do you know, I was going to say the same. It looks like it glows in the dark.
What we were talking about before, about eating coloured food. Yeah.
I know. You see, I've gone the other way, and I've gone with the Maple Bûche de Noël, which is a maple mousse and cranberry rolled in gingerbread chiffon cake. yum, yum, yum. And I think the reason why there isn't a lot at Epcot is because they're going to have those taste kitchens in the festive
Yes.
holiday kitchens. And we will be reviewing all of the tastes of Epcot, but that's going to be a special show for our Patreon supporters. So if you don't yet support us, that might be the reason why you want to hop on over to Patreon and give us a support, because you will be having that show coming up very, very soon. Well, that was a very interesting trawl through some of the holiday offerings on top of the food, because it's not just all about food.
Is it not?
No, it's not. Believe it or not, there are other things going on.
Really?
Yeah. So there's going to be lots of character appearances. There's going to be Santa in his horse-drawn carriage, Mickey and friends in their Christmas finery. There's going to be Frozen film characters, as well as the beautiful Disney princesses strolling and being carried all around the park. So that's going to be really nice to see.
I think I'm quite liking all these little mini cavalcades that they're doing. It's kind of like a really nice way to get to see everybody and experience everything, you know.
I know Marla, when she was there the other week, she said that they were lovely, they were really nice to come across, but her concern is, even with the unexpected nature of them, once people know they're coming, they start gathering on the pavement, and it does reduce that availability of social distancing, and that was a concern of hers.
Yeah, I must admit, I did see, obviously, when they started to do the projection show on the castle, the first photos and little bits of video that I saw coming out, my first thought was, oh my goodness, how many people are stood right next to each other in front of the castle. And I did hear that cast members were going around telling people that, you know, it was, don't worry, it's not a big show. It's gonna rotate through every 15 minutes, so you don't have to stand and wait for it to do something. You know, keep coming back, it'll be still here, type of thing. So I think they were on it, trying to disperse people, but it must be an impossible task if everybody just suddenly realises something's cracking off, and everybody will just stop and watch, won't they? You know.
Yeah, completely. Away from characters and cavalcades, the America Garden Theatre is going to present The Voices of Liberty and Mariachi Cobre.
Oh, cool.
The Jameters will be performing on the Mill stage, and there will be gospel, R&B and holiday songs on the World Showcase stage.
Nice.
Which, yeah, I'm quite excited about that.
Nice to see things happening rather than it just being parks open, if you know what I mean.
And then last but not least, Christmas is not Christmas without cookies. The cookie stroll is taking as part of Olaf's holiday tradition expedition. And you can go around and try, at a cost, the peppermint pinwheel, a Linzer biscuit, gingerbread biscuit, a black and white cookie, a chocolate crinkle cookie, and a mini peppermint cookie as well. There's also the scavenger hunt, which you can do over at Epcot. $7.99 sees you getting a map and some stickers.
Again, another little fun thing to do.
It is. It's just adding that extra layer. And these have been things that you've been able to do in years gone by. But obviously when the management at Disney have done the risk assessment, they've obviously felt these are things that they are able to offer this year, which is nice to see.
Yeah, I think obviously being outdoors and stuff would help, won't it?
Completely. So that's basically your Christmas celebrations in the theme parks. And as I said at the beginning of the show, we have our good friend Anthony making a trip over to Walt Disney World in the next few weeks.
Lucky old Anthony.
And he's taking a friend with him who's never been to Walt Disney World.
Oh, okay.
So first question to you, Jane. Would you ever anticipate taking somebody for their first trip during these strange and unusual times?
I'm going to say no.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know. Well, I suppose if you took somebody now and then they fell in love with it, then, oh my goodness, taking them in normal times, they'd be like over the moon. You know, so I suppose looking at it from that way, but I think as somebody who's been a number of times and knows maybe a bit more than the average traveller, so to speak, I kind of like feel like I was dealing them short at the moment, because knowing what they couldn't do, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's peculiar time to say, oh, now I'm going to go to Disney World for my first time. But I suppose people must be doing it. I just never really thought about it before. I just presumed that everybody that would be going at the moment would be people that, AP holders and that sort of thing, that or people that live relatively close by, or within easy reach type thing.
I personally don't see it as a negative thing for going for the first time in these times. You've just got to go with the anticipation that the offering isn't going to be the same as it would be in non-COVID times. There's still going to be the availability to do so many things, and I still do feel from having spoken to people who have been that there is the Disney magic there, but just not to expect it to be the same experience as you would have had pre-2020.
Yeah, I suppose that's the weird thing, isn't it? It's if you're the experienced Disney person and you're taking somebody who's inexperienced, you're going to have to make sure that you've got your sights set correctly, because they're probably going to get very excited about what they're seeing and really enjoy themselves. But you could end up thinking, oh yeah, but you're not getting a chance to do, and oh, if only this was available, oh, if we could do so and so. So I suppose it's setting both of your expectations, that you as a person showing off Disney World and recognising that they're getting a taster, not the full-on experience.
So thinking about Anthony taking his friend with him over to Walt Disney World, what would you be saying to him? Right, you're taking this newbie. These are the things you must do.
Oh, crikey. Well, I think you're going to have a game plan of sorts for what attractions you want to hit up, aren't you? Would be the first thing that came to mind.
Well, absolutely, because beforehand you'd be booking your 3 fast passes, which obviously you can't do now.
No, so I think that's the case of you. So there's this element of still having to do your your trip planning, your research type of thing beforehand, but recognizing that although the parks may be quieter, I mean, there's evidence to say that they are getting, from what I've seen video footage, they are getting to be a lot busier. So therefore, you're going to say, well, okay, then what attractions would be on my must-do list for a first timer? Because obviously you're going to have to go to one park per day. You're not going to be able to hop. So assuming that you've got the 4 days to be there, then you're going to have to plan for each park which ones you would do. So it would be a case of getting in things like the Haunted Mansion and Big Thunder, or the classic It's a Small World. All those big classic rides would be my focus if I was going around Magic Kingdom, say.
No, I completely agree. Making sure that they see the classics, making sure that you get the ones that are going to have long queues. I would definitely recommend making a visit over to Touring Plans and having a look at what they offer on there with regards to strategy. Because
good advice.
At the end of the day, me and thee don't know, because neither of us have been in the parks. But Len Tester and his team are out there all the time. They're doing different scenarios and things like that. And I do think it is a worthwhile thing. They do offer things that are free on the website. Some are payable, but it's not a great deal of money. And we don't get any kickback or anything from Touring Plans for promoting them. It's just we've used them personally and found them to be incredibly valuable.
If you're giving somebody a taste of Disney World, you've definitely got to be thinking, okay, then what is the quintessential parts of Disney World that somebody needs to have a taste of, so that would entice them to come back again in future times when they can do so much more.
Yeah. My top tip, and I think no visit to a Disney theme park is complete without having a picture with the characters. Now, obviously, it's a different experience. They may just be able to get a picture of Mickey and Minnie waving at them from a balcony or something, but we're all very good at the old selfie taking style with the arm reached out as far as possible to try and fit us in the picture. I do think you've got to have pictures of some characters, and maybe this friend has got a particular favourite, so finding out where it's likely to be a good spot to find them. You've got to have Mickey and Minnie, you've got to have a picture in front of the castle. They are non-negotiable in my opinion.
I suppose there's the old retail aspect as well, because if you're going to go to Disney World, you've got to buy at least a pair of ears, surely.
Yeah, you can have your name embroidered on the back, or maybe you go for something glittery. Yeah, I would recommend ears. There are so many things. For me, I like Disney wearables at the moment. I'm sort of moving away from the handbag style of Disney fandom into wearing the Spirit jerseys purely because I can wear them all the time at the moment.
I mean, it's so depending on people's budgets, you know, there's always those classic pins that you could get. I mean, depending on what the time of year, you know, the special ones that come out, or it could be, like you say, you know, getting the quintessential item of clothing that's going to be emblazoned with Walt Disney World somewhere on it as your reminder of your visit. So there's lots of ways to look at it from a budgeting point of view, depending on whatever you're able to do, or going down the character route if there's a favourite character that perhaps they might want to bring something. I think it's always nice to come back from somewhere like Disney World with mementos that, you know I've got certain T-shirts that I can tell you exactly where I bought them and what I was doing at the time that I bought them and things like that. Or you have the mementos that you can have around you in the house so that you can go look over and go, oh, I know that came from such and such, and, you know, or I've got it when, you know, I look over little souvenirs that I got that I know that you've brought me back from Disneyland and things like that. So that's always quite nice to be able to look at something and go, oh, that came from Shelley. She brought me that, you know, or whatever it may well be. So
yeah,
that's another way to look at it.
Another idea I thought of is, you know, the pressed penny machines. Now,
yes.
I don't actually know if they're up and running, so it could be something for you to look into for me, Anthony, while you're there. But I've been on trips before and I've collected them, and I've now put them in a Mickey head shape. And wouldn't it be a lovely thing to do with your friend, to go and collect them and have the memories of running round the machines trying to get them all and then putting them together into a shape and showing them off in a frame?
Yeah, that'd be really cool, actually. I mean, I've got loads of them, but they're just stuffed in one of those Disney World little folder things, you know, that you can pick up. So, yeah, nice idea.
Well, come on, Jane. You live in a household of creative people. You keep saying, I'm not good at drawing, blah, blah, blah. You've got Simon, you've got Molly, two very creatives. Give them the bag of coins and tell them to do you a display.
Yeah, I think I might get shouted at with the amount of stuff they're currently doing, for a pair of them. I don't think they need me to give them another job to do, to be fair.
Oh, well, it's a task for you then, love.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, yeah, okay. I'll give you 2 weeks. It only took me 4 years, but yeah. Another thing for me that you cannot extract away from Walt Disney World is the food.
Yeah.
And you cannot be classed as a Walt Disney World visitor unless you have had a Dole Whip, a citrus swirl. They are the two iconic ones for the Magic Kingdom. I'm not going to mention the turkey leg because for me it's not my thing, but keto fan Jane, you could be obviously gnawing on one of them as you wander around the park. I think that for me, and I know Anthony loves his caramel candied apples, so I think getting one and taking it back with you and enjoying it at home or in the hotel one evening is something that's enjoyable to do. Something
Mickey shaped, obviously.
Yeah. I think over at Hollywood Studios, carrot cake cookie, if you don't have one, I'm never going to speak to you again. I can't think of anything else at Hollywood Studios that you would want to have.
No, there's nothing that quintessentially jumps out, is there really, to be fair?
Not really. So I would suggest that Animal Kingdom, I've already said you're going to Satuli Canteen, but I don't know about the snacks there because they're all very sugary and very rich, and yeah, I just say stick with Satuli.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you could get an alcohol-infused Dole Whip.
Ooh, do you know what? That would be really good, having an adult decadent Dole Whip. Oh, go on then, Anthony, I'll let you do that.
I like how you're giving Anthony permission.
I am. I'm giving him complete carte blanche permission to go and do all of these things for me because I love him so much.
And all in the name of research, yeah. Go on.
And I think at Epcot, that's going to be the one park that I would say you've got to try to go around each country and try something, whether it's a food item, a snack item, a meal, something to drink. I think you can put together a plan of something that appeals to you in every country and have that little visitation, whether you just want to collect the pressed pennies or whether you just want to get a little gift or something, because I'm sure that's something we've discussed before about the best things in each country, but maybe we could revisit that for a future show if we were going to go to Epcot, what would we get from each country?
Yeah, because I think it's Epcot, especially at the moment with so much going on in Future World, it's perhaps World showcases the more thematic place to actually visit at the moment and get more of a Disney vibe from than perhaps you would think of normally.
Yeah, and I think for us too, we'd agree what Snacky's got to get from Kringla Baccarat.
Oh yeah, some school bread.
Absolutely, completely agree.
See, there are just certain things, aren't there, that you mention and you go, yeah, that just, it has to be. Can be nothing else.
Completely. So guys, that's basically it for our show for this week. I hope you've enjoyed our bit of Disney chitter chatter. If you want to find out more, you can go on over to our website, disneydreamgirls.com. There's also our Disney Podcast family page on that there Facebook. And this week, when we do our little quiz, it's going to be based on The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, it is, isn't it? I've not watched it yet.
It is, and we are also going to be getting some of our quiz panellists to do a little bit of a recording session afterwards, and there's going to be some food challenges being laid down by them. So that's going to be coming out next week for you. We're also on Instagram and Twitter at DisDreamGirls, and we do appreciate it if you share our show with your Disney-loving friends, as it gets the word of the Disney Dream Girls podcast out to people that may not have heard of us before.
I know, shock horror.
As we mentioned it earlier in the show, there is our Patreon channel if you want more Disney Dream Girls. But until next time, it's a big goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.